when I saw my wife in the video. My name is Zhang Qiang, I'm 30 years old, and I work at a state-owned enterprise with little work and good pay. One day after work, I opened my browser to check the news as usual, and a virus redirected me to a different page. Just as I was about to close it, I saw a recommended page and couldn't help but click on it. The video title is very tempting, but what drove me to open the video was not desire, but suspicion. When I clicked on the video, I almost spit out the water I was drinking. The video was a little blurry, and a woman was wearing a professional skirt and a mask lying on the sofa in the hotel. The reason why I was surprised was not because I admired the woman's good figure, but because she really looked like my wife. After 5 years of getting along, I could recognize her eyes even with a mask on. If looks can deceive people, then the unique temperament of gentleness and charm makes me unable to deceive myself. I stared at it with my eyes and adjusted the clarity to the maximum. I even expected the woman to take off the mask or speak. Once her face was revealed, I could see clearly whether it was her. But the video was very short, and only the man said one sentence in it. "I can't bear to leave you." The video was played once, and then again, and I went from the initial surprise and doubt to panic. Because the woman in the video really looked like my wife, very much like her. But no matter how many times I watched it, I still didn't find any other clues. I gave up and washed my face to calm myself down. I was thinking about every little thing that happened between me and my wife. My wife loves me so much, how could she betray me? I must have thought too much. I kept comforting myself, thinking that my wife was not that kind of person. After living together for 5 years, I have the right to say what kind of person my wife is. Thinking of this, I also smiled, but when I saw the clock on the wall, I was shocked. Yes, my wife hasn't come home yet. I looked at the watch. It was past 9 o'clock in the evening. My wife works in a private company and must have left work early, but why hasn't she come home yet? Could it be that she really? I couldn't control myself from thinking about it. The video was very clean, but my mind was now dirty. Gradually, I became anxious and irritable, as if ants were crawling on my body. I looked at the watch again, took out my mobile phone and called my wife. I know that the most important thing in marriage is trust, but today really makes me uneasy. Are there two people in the world who are so similar? Why don't you come home so late? All this made me suspicious. I called the number, eager to know what my wife was doing now. But what added fuel to the fire was that my wife hung up the phone. Why didn't my wife answer the phone? She never hung up my phone before. Why is this? A wave of anger surged up in my heart. I couldn't help but think of that video. I didn't give up and continued to call. Still didn't answer. Now I just felt that my heart was about to jump out. Panting, my face was hot like I had a fever. I was going to go out and look for her. And just then, the sound of the door opening sounded. As the sound of unlocking ended, my wife came in wearing work clothes and smelled of alcohol. Looking at her red face, it is certain that she must have drunk a lot of alcohol. But for so many years, she has never been good at drinking. Even if I drink a little more, she will say something to me. What makes a person who hates drinking drink so much? This can't help but surprise me. My wife rubbed her temples, took off her high heels, and walked over in a daze. "Hey, husband, you haven't rested yet. I'm waiting for you." Looking at my wife, I felt something was wrong, but I couldn't tell for a while. "Wife, why did you drink so much today?" "Oh, it's my colleague's birthday today, and I went to her house to get together. I was happy, so I drank a little more." After my wife finished speaking, she threw the black bag on the sofa and walked into the bathroom. Suddenly, my heart, which had just been relaxed, trembled violently. My wife's stockings are gone. I remember very clearly that this morning, when she went to work, she wore black body stockings. Because my wife has good legs, she wears flesh-colored stockings most of the time, and rarely wears black stockings, which are still relatively thin. Therefore, before going out in the morning, I deliberately teased her, so I was very impressed by that pair of stockings. However, now, when I come back at night, the body stockings are gone. It's not that I think too much, it's just that everything today is too coincidental, and it makes me feel a little painful. I was furious, pushed open the bathroom door and walked in. "Hey, husband, what are you doing?" my wife asked in a tender voice. My wife was sorting clothes. "Wife, I remember you seemed to be wearing black stockings when you went out this morning, how come they are gone? Facing my serious questioning, my wife seemed to sober up suddenly. She smiled and opened her eyes wide. It's like this: a few colleagues were playing games at night and accidentally tore the stockings. I was dizzy at that time, and I seemed to have thrown them into the toilet of my colleague's house. Reasonable? But I think something is wrong. Male colleague. Hearing what I said, my wife was stunned, and then she became serious. Husband, do you think I am that kind of person? I wanted to show her the video, but I held back. When my wife saw that I didn't speak, she put down the clothes she was sorting and hugged me gently. It's the birthday of my female colleague, don't worry. Feeling my wife's hug, I also hugged her. I hope I really think too much. My wife said she wanted to take a shower, kissed me, and then smiled and pushed me out the door. I shook my head, prepared to drink some water, and rest on the bed. At this time, the phone in my wife's bag rang. In an instant, my heart, which had just fallen, came to my throat again. Yes, it must be, that man called. Have you arrived home? Do you miss me? Boom. Hearing this, I felt like I was struck by thunder. I was silent for a long time, and at this moment I was really going to collapse. My wife betrayed me, and the person who called was her new love. Who are you? My voice was angry. Huh? Why is it a man? Sorry, I think I dialed the wrong number. The person I'm looking for is Liu Xiaoli. My wife's name is Zhang Qiang, but is it really a wrong number? The man hung up the phone after he finished speaking, but I still couldn't rest assured. After a while, my wife came out of the shower and wiped her hair. Honey, who called just now? Is she nervous? Your phone, a man. Honey, stop it, it's so late. The man who can find me is the leader who arranges the work. I'm not kidding you. My wife looked at my expression and was also stunned, and didn't speak for a long time. You said you wanted to find Liu Xiaojing, but you dialed the wrong number. Oh, that's it. My wife was still very calm. At night, my wife fell asleep as soon as she touched the bed, but I couldn't sleep. The next day, my wife got up early and made breakfast for me. Honey, I have to go on a business trip this afternoon and won't be back at night. Hearing this, I was slightly stunned. My thoughts became uneasy again. Today is Friday, what's going on? You won't be home at night. I can't help it. There is a document that needs to be processed. The person in charge is in the provincial capital. I have to hurry to finish it. My wife's face was full of helpless expressions. Go with our finance, don't worry, women. Yeah. I finally nodded. It may be that the weather has been hot recently and I have been a little irritated, which has caused my thoughts to be restless. By the way, husband, go to the countryside after get off work. My mother has run out of diabetes medicine. Go and bring her some. Okay. At this time, I couldn't help but think that my wife wanted to get me out of the way so that she could do something else. After that, my wife drank the milk, took her bag and went out. Strangely, my wife was still wearing very thin black stockings today. Just like what was said in the forum, if an ordinary person starts to dress unusually, it is likely that he has betrayed her. I shook my head and restrained myself from fantasizing. But similar scenes always appeared in my mind. Snap. I slapped myself. I am really crazy, what am I thinking? On the way to work, my heart was still very complicated. On the one hand, I believe in my wife, but on the other hand, what I see, hear and feel makes it difficult for me to let go. We have been married for 5 years, and we plan to have a child this year. Unknowingly, I arrived at the company. Director Zhang, good morning. Chen Yinli is an old employee under me. She is old, but she is only 2 years younger than me. She followed me when she first joined the company. I also watched her get married and divorced. Director, there is a document to sign. Oh, come in. Chen Yinli lay on the table and looked at me when she handed the document. Although we are very familiar with each other, I still looked away. Ahem. Yunli, have you made any progress in your relationship recently? You are not young anymore. Yes, but it is not easy to find a good man. Have your requirements been a little lower? Then. Director, do you have time today? I want to invite you to dinner. Can you help me with some advice? Let's do it another day. Oh, then director, I'm leaving. Looking at her swaying figure, I couldn't help biting the tip of my tongue. I am not a virgin, and it would be a lie to say that I can't see what she is thinking. However, my wife and I have been in love since college, and we have always been supportive and respectful to each other. I must not do anything to let her down. However, when I thought of some things that happened yesterday, my mood was still as chaotic as a mess. Then, I made up my mind. I left work early, went to my mother-in-law's house first, and then went to the provincial capital. Instead of torturing myself like this, I might as well see it with my own eyes. Just after 5 o'clock, it started to drizzle. I went to the pharmacy to buy some medicine and drove to the countryside. About 40 minutes, I arrived at my mother-in-law's house. My wife completely inherited the beauty of my mother-in-law. She was over 50 years old, and wrinkles on her face were just beginning to appear. "Qiangzi, are you here? Come in quickly. Mom, this is the medicine Zhang Qiang asked me to buy for you." "Oh, I still have the medicine. It's raining today and it's so cold. You've worked hard." "No. It's okay." I stuttered in response. "Why?" My wife lied to me again. My desire to catch the adulterer in the provincial capital has reached its peak. "Qiangzi, Mom will make you some noodles." I wanted to leave quickly, but I thought I should call my wife on video to let her relax her vigilance and know that I was at home. I went to the door and found a misty background, intending to use this as an excuse. As long as his wife answered the video, he would know where his wife was and which hotel she was in. But until the video was forced to end, his wife did not answer the call. It's like this again. No one answered yesterday's call and today's video. Is there something wrong once, and every time? I couldn't help but think of that video again. My hands began to tremble, and I continued to call with trepidation. I was anxious, and I wanted to know what my wife was doing now. But the second video was still the same, no one answered. I called again, but still didn't answer. My heart was anxious and itchy, and I carefully recalled every bit of last night. No, I can't stand it. But at this time, my mother-in-law had already brought out the noodles. No matter how anxious I was hungry at this time. As soon as I finished eating, I said goodbye to my mother-in-law and got in the car. Ding 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 tilde. Is it my wife's video? I pretended to be calm and answered it. What came into my sight was a bustling street. My wife was sitting at a table, drinking coffee. "Why didn't you answer my video?" "Husband, I was just shopping with Sister Zhao from the finance department. There is no signal." I looked at the scene behind her and it was very familiar. "Are you in the city center?" "It's like this, husband. The person in charge came back from the provincial capital in the afternoon, so we don't have to work overtime, and I will go home in the evening." "Okay, then I will pick you up." In the video, my wife frowned slightly, squinted her eyes, and said, "Oh, no, Sister Zhao's husband will pick her up. I can just take a ride. You go home, take a shower and have a good rest." I took a closer look at my wife, and recalled that when she went out in the morning, she seemed to be wearing black clothes. Why did she turn into crimson now? And, more importantly, the shirt has also changed. I wanted to ask something else, but my wife had already hung up the phone. If, from inside to outside, everything has changed, then I don't have the courage to think about it anymore. I really don't believe that my loving wife would be with another man behind my back. I must have thought too much. It was just 8 o'clock when I got home. My wife hasn't come back yet. I wanted to take a shower to calm down, but looking at the clothes my wife put in the bathroom last night, my heart became even more confused. At 9 o'clock, I called again. This time it wasn't that no one answered, but it still took more than 30 seconds. "Hello, husband." My wife's gentle voice fluctuated a little. "Wife, where are you? I'll pick you up." "No, I'm almost home." My wife's response was very anxious, and then she said, "Husband, I'll bring you some midnight snacks on the way." "As usual. Bye." After that, without waiting for me to continue, she hung up the phone in a hurry, as if afraid that I would hear something. I clenched my fists and stood on the balcony. She said she was going home soon. After waiting for 20 minutes, a high-end sedan stopped downstairs of my house. The light was dim, and I couldn't see who was in the main driver's seat, but I was sure it was a man. My wife got off the passenger seat, and her clothes were not the professional suit she wore in the morning, but a black short skirt. Her hair was not tied up, but draped behind her. It was only the difference between morning and evening, but they were dressed in two completely different ways. I took a deep puff of cigarette and watched my wife wave goodbye to the man. Heh! I smiled bitterly. I never thought that one day I would be cheated on. My heart trembled when I thought of this. Is the love of mutual support just wishful thinking after all? Since you don't love each other anymore, you can file for divorce, but why did you do it behind my back? For what? Exciting. After a while, my wife came in, wearing a red top with a black short skirt. No stockings. Honey, I bought you fried chicken. My wife's face was full of smiles. Honey, what's wrong? Why are you unhappy? Where did you change your clothes? Where are your stockings? The wife did not answer immediately, but put the things down first. Then she made a wronged look. Honey, I'm so unlucky today. It was raining, and a driver didn't slow down and splashed dirty water all over me. I bought the clothes in the mall. Really? What a coincidence. I obviously didn't agree with this statement. The man who just sent you back bought it. Hearing what I said, my wife's eyes first dodged, and then looked directly at me. What do you mean? I told you that it was Sister Zhao's husband who sent us back. Colleague's husband. Let you sit in the front passenger seat. Although my tone was indifferent, it was not harsh. But somehow, my wife suddenly shed tears. You doubt me? We have been married for 5 years. You actually doubt me? It's been like this since yesterday, asking me some weird questions. This look of pear blossoms in the rain, I finally softened my heart. 4 years of love and 5 years of marriage cannot be wiped out by a misunderstanding. I gently hugged my wife. No, there is no distrust, I am worried that you will be in danger. You are my wife, how can I not trust you? Such words are 3/10 true and 7/10 false. But now, no matter what the reason is, I can only say these against my will. Really? Yeah. My wife and I sat on the sofa, helping her to tidy up her hair, and buried my head in her neck. Har har, husband, it's so itchy. I sniffed, and suddenly there was a smell of cologne on my hair. I gritted my teeth and endured it. Since there is on the hair, it means that other places are the same. I lowered my head. Har har har, husband. At this time, my wife suddenly pushed me away. I'm going to the bathroom. I narrowed my eyes slightly and said nothing more. Hubby, there is still hot water, I'm going to take a bath. The voice from the bathroom made me smile bitterly. Real, quite a coincidence. Looking at the fried chicken on the table, I didn't move. It seems that my mood has fluctuated too much in the past few days, and I actually slept well tonight. Well, I know, I will tell him. Although my wife was talking on the phone in the living room, I still got up. Next week. Okay, I know. My wife hung up the phone and turned around. Husband, are you awake? My wife seemed to be shocked by my sudden appearance. Well, who called? Oh, it's my boss, Mr. Song. He said that I have to go on a business trip next Friday. I told you in advance not to delay the family. My wife acted very calmly. I couldn't believe that this look was acting. But there was always a voice in my heart telling me that things were not that simple. Just thinking about it, my wife hugged my waist and put her head on my chest. Husband, you went to bed so early last night. Because of the things in the past 2 days, I was also provoked. No words for the whole morning. Just like that, in the next few days, my wife and I returned to our normal lives, and I gradually let go of my worries. My wife is still the same as before. If she really betrayed me, would she still be like that? Although I am a small leader, her salary is higher than mine. She is not the kind of woman who lives on her husband. These days, I have been smiling at work. Director Zhang. What's wrong, Yunli? So happy. Today is Friday again. As soon as I got to work, Chen Yinli came over with a smile. Director, we have exceeded the task of the last quarter. Well, you did a good job. Everyone's credit. Credit or not. It's just that the next door department went to team building last week. It turned out that they were waiting here. Har har, okay, then I will also decide and reward everyone. Her restaurant. Oh, director, don't be so rigid. Chen Yinli suddenly stepped forward and grabbed my arm, shaking it slightly, and acted like a spoiled child. We are all from the same department, and it's so boring to have dinner together every time. Then where do you want to go? Let's go to KTV, the one downstairs at Jinyan Hotel in the city center. Recently, there is a 20% discount for group bookings. I shook my head and thought about it. It's not too much. So I nodded and agreed. You decide when, I'll listen to everyone. Then it's settled, tonight. Okay, you and I are playing the game of acting first and asking for permission later. Chen Yinli blinked her eyes and stuck out her tongue playfully. Okay, I'll listen to you. Anyway, my wife is on a business trip today, and I'm just sitting at home. At 7 p.m., we drove to the place. In the underground parking lot downstairs, just as I was about to get off, a car suddenly drove past me. My eyes widened immediately because I seemed to see someone sitting in the passenger seat. Is it my wife? My heart trembled again. But this time, I think I must have seen it wrong. Regardless of whether I saw it clearly or not, the key point is that the window of the main driver's seat was half open, and the driver was a woman. If it was really as I imagined, wouldn't I be the outsider? Obviously not. Director, what are you thinking about? No, let's go. The box was noisy, and I was really not good at these occasions. In fact, I have always been a steady demeanor, and the first impression given to people is calmness. Maybe this is also the reason why I was promoted quickly. Director, why don't you sing? You guys sing, I can't. Seeing Chen Yinli gloating and letting me perform, I hurriedly made an excuse to go to the bathroom. And somehow, as soon as the environment was quiet, I wanted to call my wife. This time my wife answered immediately, "Hello, husband. I'm drinking beer with Sister Zhao." "Oh. I'm singing K downstairs at Jinyun Hotel." I was about to report to my wife, but a man's voice suddenly came from the other end of the phone. What a coincidence, how about I tell him? No need. Huh? What's that sound? My heart was immediately alarmed. It's like this, husband, one of our partners has shares there, and he said that if you mention his name, you can get a free meal. Oh, I still won't do that. Well, then husband, go home early, I'll try to go back tomorrow, bye. I always felt something was wrong, but I couldn't tell what it was. Thinking about it, I went back to the room. Because I had something on my mind, I drank a lot of wine without realizing it. I gradually lost consciousness, and in the dark, I just felt that I was lying on a cloud. The next morning, I opened my eyes as usual. Then, I swear, this was the most shocking time in 30 years. Yinli. Why are you in my house? God knows why Chen Yinli was lying next to me. I quickly turned my back and looked for clothes. Director, you're awake. This is my home. I looked around, and it was indeed an unfamiliar environment. It's broken. Oh, Yinli, I'm drunk, I don't remember anything. I know that such an excuse is like farting for a woman. I'm sorry, I will surrender to the organization, everything is my problem. Director Tilder, is it so difficult for you to accept me? That's not the reason, I can't ruin your innocence. What if I am willing? Yinli, you. I was speechless for a while, not knowing what to do. HMPH, since you dare to surrender, I dare to say in the unit that I took the initiative. Alas. After a long silence, I finally spoke first. Let's all calm down first. I'll give you a few days off, have a good rest, and then we'll talk. After that, I put on my clothes and left. Fortunately, the car was downstairs. When I got home and saw the wedding photos hanging on the wall, my heart seemed to be grasped by a hand. Har. It's ridiculous that I have always suspected my wife, but I was the one who was unfaithful first. Rubbing my temples, I decided to confess to my wife. It's 7 in the morning now, and I don't know if he's awake yet. I called him, and this time he answered immediately. Hello? Who is this? A man's voice. Who are you? How did you get this call? The man's voice was very lazy, as if he hadn't woken up yet. At this point, I was immediately filled with anger. The confession I had prepared in my head immediately vanished. Hello? Husband. Why are you calling me so early? A man's voice. How is it possible? It's Sister Zhao. Oh, we're staying in the same hotel. I'm so confused. You must have heard it wrong. I'm a little confused now, but I can still tell whether it's a man or a woman. How about this? I'll give you a video call, and let Sister Zhao talk to you. I still didn't say anything, and the video came over, and I answered it. Is it Qing Qing's husband? I just got up, so I won't show my face. Wave your hand. It was a female voice, and it couldn't be a voice changer. Because those hands were obviously women's, and they had manicures. Did I really hear it wrong? Maybe. After all, I just got up in the morning, so my voice may change a little. Okay, you believe it, I may go back tonight. I have to get up now, bye. I went to the bathroom to wash my face and wake up. In the end, I still felt that I should confess to my wife. So, at 8:30, I called again. After more than 30 seconds, the call was connected. Husband. What's wrong? Huh? Hearing this voice, I was confused again. Why do you sound so tired? Climbing stairs, signing documents, the elevator is broken. Huh? What's that sound? There was a scream in the background, and then it seemed that I could hear the sound of running on the ground. Husband, Sister Zhao twisted her foot. Oh, let's not talk about it first. My wife panted and hung up the phone in a panic. I sat on the sofa, hesitant to speak. Thinking about my future. Ding dong. The doorbell rang. Is it a courier? Mr. Zhang Qiang. This is an anonymous package for you, please sign for it. Anonymous? What is this? I took it to the living room in confusion and opened it. When the things inside were taken out, I felt sick immediately. This is not a reaction of the stomach, but extreme anger, the body's self-protection. This thing is a one-piece socks. There are even stains on it very clearly, and it seems to have a smell. I don't want to touch it, disgusting. My thoughts gradually became clear. Yes, wasn't it this pair that I wore out that morning? Didn't you say it was rotten and thrown at the home of a female colleague? Anger has overwhelmed my mind. I called the phone, but it was turned off. Har, good. It's fate. I lay on the sofa, tears streaming from the corners of my eyes. At 8 o'clock in the evening, my wife actually called me on her own initiative. Honey, I'm in the city, but I may be late tonight. It's my colleague's birthday. The wife's voice was not right on the other end of the phone. It felt like she was talking on a trampoline, and every word was trembling. Another birthday. My tone was very calm. Oh, there's nothing I can do. I just found out that I'll be back at about 10 o'clock. No, I'll be back at 9:30. I still don't want to hear this voice again. It's clearly the car. It's 8 o'clock now, 9 o'clock at the latest. I'll wait for you at home, otherwise, see you at the Civil Affairs Bureau. I took the initiative to hang up the phone. Since both parties have betrayed each other, what else can we say? But even if we're getting divorced, we have to ask clearly. Honey? What's wrong? Why did you suddenly? My wife came home at 8:40. The clothes and hair looked a little messy. Sit down, I'll ask you something. I was very calm, so calm that it was a little scary. My wife didn't sit on the sofa, but moved a stool and sat far away. I didn't care and asked, look at this, is it familiar? Husband, why is there a pair of stockings here? So dirty, whose is it? Hey, Yang Qing, what's the point of pretending? I don't know why my wife is still pretending now. Since it's like this, isn't divorce good for both parties? This should be sent to me by him, please ask him for me. If he tries to get pleasure in this way, it's unnecessary. Husband, I really don't understand. It was the day you said it was your colleague's birthday, and it was ruined. But I'm very optimistic. This is not mine, husband. Did you take the wrong medicine today? Suddenly you said you'd meet at the Civil Affairs Bureau, and now you're questioning me because of this inexplicable thing. My wife became more and more excited as she spoke, and tears were about to fall. Inexplicable? Isn't this yours? I yelled. My wife was also frightened. Husband, don't you believe me? Yes. I don't believe it. In the past few weeks, I didn't answer the phone many times, and my tone was abnormal when I answered. Do you need me to point it out? I didn't hide it anymore and vented my anger. I really didn't, really, tonight is also my colleague's birthday tonight. I can prove it to you. As he said, my wife took out her phone, flipped through the chat history, and handed it to me. The contact person on it was Zhang Qiang, my wife's direct supervisor. From the chat history, it was indeed written clearly about every birthday, business trip, and who she went with. It was impeccable. Yes, it was also a special case for a boss to take the trouble to make things clear for his subordinates. I wanted to ask again, but I saw something exposed after my wife bent down. What's in your body? Instantly, my wife's tears stopped. No, nothing. She quickly covered her body. No, you saw it wrong. My wife stood up and backed away repeatedly, as if she wanted to retreat to the door. But I blocked her first. Really? Then why are you so panicked? If it's not, then you can prove it to me. We are already an old couple. Husband. My wife's voice began to tremble. But my heart was slowly hardening. Oh, you are so nice to him. I have never seen you wear it in 5 years of marriage. Hubby, I am not. I love you, really, as long as you are willing. Don't be childish. Hubby, I am sorry, really, I can explain. Explanation? The matter is very clear, let's just leave it like this. For some reason, when everything was clear, I seemed to be less upset. I looked at my wife with a mocking look and said helplessly. It's like this, there is nothing to say, let's get a divorce. We don't have children, which is a good thing. You still have a mother to support, just go through with a normal divorce, I'll find a lawyer. After that, he turned around and left without caring about his crying wife. Hey, Yunli, are you free now? I want to talk to you. When I arrived at Chen Yunli's house, I sat on a chair with red eyes. Yunli, if I say I will marry you after my divorce, will you agree? Brother Qiang, if it's because of me that I destroyed your relationship with your sister-in-law, then I will leave. No, let me talk to you. I raised my hand to stop her. I wanted to say more details, but only one sentence came to my mouth. She cheated on me, and we just confessed. What? This. Nothing. Har har. I admit that I was a little angry just now, but I have the capital to tell you now, I can take responsibility. When Chen Yunli heard this, her eyes instantly turned red. Turned over and wiped away her tears. But when she turned around, she said, Brother Qiang, I hope. Just like you said, we should consider it. I mean, you should consider it. If it's just guilt, I think you don't have to. Yunli, okay, let's not talk about this. Although I don't know what you have experienced specifically, I think you must be sleepy. I will clean up a room for you and rest for a night before talking. Thank you, Yunli. The next day, the sun was high in the sky. I opened my eyes and found that my phone was muted yesterday, with dozens of missed calls. In addition to Yang Qingqing's, there was an unknown number. Just watching, another call came. Hello. Hello, Zhang Qiang? This is Zhang Qiang. I want to chat with you. Are you free? Nothing to talk about. I suppressed my anger. He called at this time, and his identity was self-evident. Don't be like this. I testify that your wife loves you. I'll wait for you on the 4th floor of the place you went on Friday. Looking at the phone, I was silent for a long time. After putting on clothes, Chen Yunli was making breakfast outside. You're awake. Although it's almost noon, you should have some breakfast first. Yes, okay. Zhang Qiang, since you have to wait, just wait. He put on a hat and didn't bring a knife. He was kind. Yunli, I'll go out later. Yes. Do you have a recorder here? Find me one. As a small leader in the system, I always have some inexplicable feelings about some things. This time is the same. I always feel that something is fishy. Hearing this, Chen Yunli was stunned, said nothing, and went to look in the drawer. This is a micro recorder, with enough power. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I dragged my feet and finally arrived at the place Zhang Qiang said. On the 4th floor, I was led to a room with a dining area. Oh my, brother Zhang Qiang, you're finally here. I've already removed the dishes 3 times. There were only 2 people in the room, a man and a woman. This was my first time meeting Zhang Qiang. He was slightly shorter than me, slightly fat, and wore glasses. He was very enthusiastic towards me, but I naturally couldn't accept it. Being disappointed in his wife doesn't mean he doesn't hate this man. It's just that he doesn't understand the situation now. Because as soon as I entered the box, I smelled a scent of perfume. If Zhang Qiang is not good looking, then the woman next to him is a beauty. She was wearing a black half dress, which was very cool. She walked towards me with a calm face. It seems that she is going to play the good cop. Is she going to persuade me? Does she know, or can she accept her husband's cheating? Questions came one after another, but Zhang Qiang immediately introduced. This is my wife, Zhao Lian, the Lotus of Lotus. This appearance is not related to the name. She is also the financial officer of our company. Huh. Could she be Sister Zhao? I was stunned. Even though the woman came over to shake hands, I still didn't react. At the moment of shaking hands, I felt Zhao Lian looking at me with an extremely ambiguous look. What's going on? Isn't her husband here? But the look alone was not enough, the woman also gently scratched her palm. If this was Zhang Qiang's trick, then I have to admit that I lost. After fighting with this aphrodisiac-like woman, I no longer have the energy to maintain my anger. When I turned around and saw Zhang Qiang, the latter smiled very brightly. But when I sat down, his words made me feel thunderstruck again. Brother Zhang Qiang, how is it? Not bad. I almost spit out the tea in my mouth. What does this mean? I didn't say anything. Zhang Qiang continued while picking up the dishes. Brother Zhang, since you are a special person, you naturally know a lot of things. I dare not, it's just an ordinary unit. No problem, Jinyan Paradise, have you heard of it? My hand holding the teacup tightened slightly. Not only have I heard of it, it was the largest trading place uncovered in this city 2 years ago. When dealing with those real estate resources, I was also responsible for a part of it. More details, Jinyan Paradise, the 3rd floor. I looked at the smiling Zhang Qiang, and then at Zhao Lian, who was also smiling. He understood. Har. Everything is clear. My wife's whereabouts. Her behavior. All kinds of performances. Everything is clear. Instantly, I felt that my worldview was crushed. I thought that my wife just cheated on her boss, but now, har. I don't know how else to describe it except disgusting. Cheating is at least a matter between two people. 8. After thinking about all this, I really couldn't look at those two people directly. It's not like I haven't heard of such things. After all, the 3rd floor of Jinyan Paradise was also rumored in the company at the beginning. But now that I see it with my own eyes, the feeling is completely different. Har har, it seems that you have heard of it. Brother, life is short. I envy you, my sister-in-law loves you very much. I have always been worried that you can't accept it. We helped to hide it together. But it's not worth getting a divorce now. I believe that it's just difficult for you to accept it for a while, just talk it out. As I said that, I watched Zhang Qiang wink. Zhao Lian stood up, sat next to me, and put her arm around my arm. Wow. I stood up immediately and didn't dare to sit down again. Brother, what does this mean? Zhang Qiang's smile disappeared and he looked at me coldly. I knew that if I didn't express my attitude today, I was afraid that it would not end well. This, I misunderstood. Really, har har. I pretended to be shy and scratched my head. Oh, it's normal. It's better to be familiar with it the first time. He understood that these beasts wanted to drag him down with them. But now, he had to stay calm. Alas, it's really, if I had known earlier, there would be no misunderstanding. As soon as he said this, Zhang Qiang laughed. See, I knew that my brother was not a narrow-minded person. Don't worry, my sister-in-law has always been with us and has not hurt her. Well, Qing is still a little shy and refused a lot. Zhao Lian spoke for the first time, her tone full of the flavor of a fox. Qing is very sad. You have a good relationship. You should talk more, Tilda. As she said that, she looked at me ambiguously again. This look. Har har har. That's right. Then Zhang Qiang used the excuse of going to the toilet. Zhao Lian licked her lips and stood up. Actually, there's no rush to discuss this with Qing. Well, no, I'd better go home first. My wife must be very sad now. After saying that, I hurried away. When I came out, I saw a few people in black clothes at the door. I don't doubt that Zhang Qiang really dared to let me not go back. As soon as I got in the car, I vomited and wished that my intestines would come out. I drank a bottle of mineral water and barely recovered. Then, he looked at the micro recorder and was slightly stunned. I always told me to remember not to meet the wrong person, but who would have thought that this person would be his wife? It seems that he has no choice. He called Shen Yunli, and then he returned home. At the door, he rubbed his face hard. Wife. Husband, you're back. I know everything. I smiled at my wife. Hubby, it's my fault too. I haven't taken care of your feelings after being married for so many years. Actually, it was Sister Zhao and Mr. Song. I didn't want to. No more, Mr. Song and Sister Zhao have talked it over with me. Hubby, you don't blame me anymore. No. Friday night. When I saw the news, I immediately sent a secret code to Yunli. No wonder, since a few months ago, every Friday my wife either used the excuse of working overtime or going on a business trip. Oh, it's really good. Well, wife, since Mr. Song has invited us, it's not good not to go. Yeah. On Friday night, we drove to the destination. After getting off the car, when preparing to go upstairs, Zhang Qiang watched her husband being hit by a man. Then her eyes shone and she glanced at the corner of her clothes. It's okay, let's go. The two went up to the 4th floor. On the other side, in a car outside the building. Report, the listening device has been posted. Wait. Everyone get ready. This time I was led to a room, and I didn't expect that there was an elevator in the room. It's broken. But now that things have come to this, I can only bite the bullet. I don't know where I am. There are still checks at the door. We are invited, and we still need to check. Sorry sir, Miss Yang next to you doesn't need it, but you are here for the first time. Honey, why are your clothes wrinkled? Tidy them up. I was puzzled by my wife's behavior, but I didn't dare to do anything else. Okay, then check it. My wife said to the staff. I am just an ordinary public official, I know what I am doing. So, I was scared. Sir, please don't shake. My husband has misophobia, please be gentle. Yes, Miss Yang. Sweat has already seeped out of my forehead. I closed my eyes and waited quietly. Am I going to explain here today? Okay, sir, please come in. I wiped the sweat off my face, nodded, and walked in. I kept my face calm and touched a few places on the clothes. No. Was it not attached, or? Zhang Qiang. I didn't think about it anymore, because at this time, the host couple came over. Sister Zhao, let's go over there and have a drink. My wife took Zhao Lian away, leaving only Zhang Qiang. Har har har, welcome brother Zhao, this is just a small cocktail party. Of course, we will also have a special room for everyone to rest. Well, okay, brother Song, I'll just take a look. Zhang Qiang just thought I was still a little restrained and didn't show any other reaction. After a long time, my wife came over. Can we chat? I was confused, but nodded. Here. Go to the bathroom. No one is here now. As soon as I entered, my wife looked at me and said, I know what you are going to do. She took out the bug, which has a tracking function, and it seems that it should be turned off now. Yeah, so what? So, you have been lying to me these days. What do you think? Do you think I will do the same as you, and do things worse than animals? As she said this, my wife's tears had already fallen. I am not, I have no choice. Whatever, go and report me. After saying this, I was about to leave. Wait, they did more than that, they also had leaves in the room tilde. I was shocked. But then I could understand, yes, if they could gather a crowd for such a thing, what else would they not dare to do? What do you mean? I didn't participate, really, I can't lie about such a thing. I was just forced by the couple. Don't say these words. I don't want to go to jail. Please. Please. I turned my head away from her. It would be great if you knew how to be afraid earlier. Sorry. Too late. Husband tilde. I closed my eyes, trying not to hear the crying, not to think about our past love, our past bits and pieces. But I'm leaving, you stay here. Husband. I'll testify for you, and you'll also be a tainted witness. Remember, stick to what you didn't participate in. I believe it won't take long. After you get out, go to the countryside to accompany your mother. Finally, I walked into the hall alone and took the bug with me. Zhao Lian smiled, and her slender hand naturally rested on my shoulder. Where's Qing? Don't say it, it's suddenly time. Where's the toilet? Today. I remember her date is in the middle of the month, isn't it? I didn't look at Zhao Lian, and shook my head. I don't know, maybe it's postponed. Oh, huh? Postponed? It can't be, My heart suddenly trembled, and my eyes widened. Although this was an excuse, I understood what she meant. Har, just kidding. Okay, I can assure you that the child is yours. I felt mixed emotions, and I didn't feel happy anyway. But, they're one in our family, hey. I don't want to do technology. Zhao Lian said, her fingers were already drawing circles on my chest. For those in the system, the selection must be strict. Fuck, I can't stand it. I grabbed her hand. Sister Zhao, where's Mr. Song? He's in the room. Oh, we can start now. I gave a signal for them to pick me up. But it seemed that I was misunderstood by this woman. HMPH, I'll listen to you today, Tilda. As she said that, she was going to pull me away, but I didn't dare to go. Wait. I'm a little nervous, let me go to the toilet first. I stayed in the toilet for a long time, watching the water in the toilet flush away, and there was a loud noise outside. Splash. Even if it's flushed away, it's not absolutely clean, but it won't work if it's not flushed. Par. Fuck. Gunshot. End.